For what purpose does the gentleman from Idaho rise?
I have an amendment at the desk.
Clerk will designate the amendment.
Amendment number 17, printed in House Report number 111-256, offered by Mr. Minnick of Idaho.
Pursuant to House Resolution 746, the gentleman from Idaho, Mr. Minnick, and a member opposed, each will control 5 minutes. The chair recognizes the gentleman from Idaho.
Madam Chair, no group better exemplifies the power of what a college education can accomplish in building on practical life experiences than that of our nation's servicemen and women. So many of my state's and our nation's leaders grew into adulthood through the military and then, with the benefit of a quality college education, went on to serve their communities and countries in positions of significant leadership in all walks of life. It is critical that members of the armed forces who thirst for further formal education and show the extra initiative to earn college credit while in the service have the opportunity later to count those credits toward an advanced degree. I'm proud to say that my amendment to the Student Aid and Fiscal Responsibility Act will enhance that opportunity by allowing servicemen and women to transfer academic credits earned while serving in the armed forces between institutions of higher education so as to benefit not only themselves, but their families and their country. My amendment has been endorsed by the Iraq and Afghanistan Veterans of America, the Idaho Division of Veterans Services, and the Idaho American Legion. I'd like to thank Chairman Miller and members of the Education and Labor Committee for their hard work on this legislation. I urge my colleagues to support the Minnick Amendment and reserve the balance of my time.
For what purpose does the gentleman from Kentucky rise?
Madam Speaker, I rise to claim time in opposition, though I do not oppose the amendment.
Without objection, gentleman is recognized.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. This amendment is important, I think, because I have some military experience. I have a lot of friends with military experience, and as we send our young men and women across the world to defend us, they do take advantage of college opportunities that so many people and so many institutions do offer our military. And when they come home, we should expect that their efforts should count towards their degrees when they return home. I think this is very good to do, and I appreciate the gentleman from Idaho bringing this forward, and I reserve my time.
Gentleman from Idaho.
I thank the gentleman and yield to the gentleman from New Jersey.
Gentleman's recognized.
I thank the author of the amendment for yielding, and the committee strongly supports his amendment and commends him for his excellent work. You know, no student should pay twice for the same course. If someone takes an English course and excels in it and learns a certain set of skills, he or she should then not have to pay again and consume his or her time again a second time around at a different institution. This is even more true for the men and women who volunteer to serve this country in the armed forces. I think it's very important that the House understand the benefits of Mr. Minnick's very wise amendment. If a young American today who's serving in Afghanistan is able to access college credits, whether online or in person, and then he or she returns to his or her hometown and wants to transfer those credits so he or she can then build on their education. What Mr. Minnick says is that's one of the standards that we're going to hold these institutions to see how well they cooperate with that veteran who's returned home. What it really does is make sure that the veteran has extra leverage, that if the course meets reasonable academic requirements and if the student really learned what he or she should, they're going to get the credit. So the veteran's not going to pay twice, nor is he or she going to have to spend as much time on their course. This is very important to a lot of our returning veterans, and the committee enthusiastically embraces and supports this amendment by Mr. Minnick, and I yield back to him.
Gentleman from Kentucky.
Again, I just want to say I agree. When our military men and women they travel, they're temporary. When they travel, they're away from their homes and they move around quite often. And the military has done an outstanding job of encouraging people to advance their degrees, to advance in the ranks of non-commissioned officers as well as commissioned officers now requires education and degrees. And I just think it's important that we do this, that as they may be in Afghanistan for a year and then back in Fort Campbell, Kentucky for a couple, a year or two, and they're picking up different courses. And when they get home and they want to get on with their life and get back into the the civilian sector. They ought to put all that together into a clear path towards a degree. And again, I want to appreciate you for bringing this forward, and I yield back my time.
Gentleman yields back. Gentleman from Idaho.
I thank the gentleman from Kentucky and appreciate the bipartisan support for this amendment. I would like to ask for a recorded vote and yield back the balance of my time.
Question is on the amendment offered by the gentleman from Idaho. Those in favor say aye. Opposed say no. In the opinion of the chair, the ayes have it. Gentleman from Idaho. Does the gentleman request a recorded vote?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I would like to ask for a recorded vote and yield back my time.
Pursuant to Clause 6 of Rule 18, further proceedings on the amendment will be offered by the gentleman from Idaho will be postponed.